Success begins the moment you take responsibility. Let me start with a simple truth that took me years to fully understand and even longer to accept. Life does not respond to wishes. It responds to responsibility. When we are young, we believe success is something that happens to other people, something lucky, something accidental, something reserved for the gifted or the fortunate. We look at successful people and say they had connections, or they were born into the right family, or they just got lucky. But after a while, if we are honest, we begin to notice something uncomfortable. The people who rise, the people who last, the people who build meaningful lives all have one thing in common. They stopped blaming and started owning. Success began the moment they took responsibility. I remember meeting a man many years ago who changed the way I saw everything. He wasn't rich at the time. He didn't have a big title or a fancy office, but he had something rare. He had clarity. He said something to me that I laughed at back then. He said, "If you don't like how things are going, it's probably because you're the one driving." I thought that was a little harsh. After all, I had reasons, I had explanations, I had excuses that sounded very intelligent. The economy was tough, the timing was wrong, people didn't support me, opportunities were limited, and he listened patiently, nodded politely, and then said, "All true, and still irrelevant." That sentence followed me for years. You see, responsibility is not about blame. It is about power. The moment you accept responsibility, you regain control. The moment you reject responsibility, you hand control to circumstances, to other people, to luck, and to yesterday. And here's the irony. Most people avoid responsibility because they think it will weigh them down, when in reality, it is the very thing that lifts them up. Responsibility is not a burden. It is a privilege. It is the privilege of saying, "My life is mine to shape." Let me tell you a story. There were two men who worked in the same company, lived in the same neighborhood, and earned the same salary. 10 years later, one was struggling, bitter, and exhausted, while the other was confident, respected, and financially secure. When asked what made the difference, the struggling man said, "Life was unfair. The system was against me. I never got the breaks." The successful man said, "I made better choices. Same environment, same starting point, different outcomes. The difference was not intelligence, talent, or opportunity. The difference was ownership." Taking responsibility means understanding that where you are today is the result of decisions you made yesterday. That statement scares people, but it should also inspire you, because if your decisions brought you here, your decisions can take you somewhere better. Responsibility means you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What can I do about it?" It means you stop waiting for permission, approval, or perfect conditions and start working with what you have. I once asked a farmer why some fields produced more than others, even though they shared the same weather. He smiled and said, "Weather is shared. Responsibility is personal." That's a lesson worth remembering. We all face storms, we all face droughts, but not everyone prepares the soil the same way. Some people complain about the rain, others plant in anticipation of it. Responsibility is deciding to prepare even when the sky is uncertain. Here's the hard truth. Nobody is coming to rescue you. That is not depressing. That is empowering. Because if nobody is coming, then you don't have to wait. You don't have to beg. You don't have to hope. You can act. Responsibility turns victims into leaders. It turns excuses into strategies. It turns fear into discipline. And discipline, practiced daily, becomes freedom. Most people want success without accountability. They want rewards without responsibility. They want progress without pressure. But life doesn't work that way. You don't get paid for what you hope to do. You get paid for what you do well and consistently. And consistency is born from responsibility. When you take responsibility, you show up even when you don't feel like it. You prepare even when nobody is watching. You improve even when no one is applauding. Let me tell you something that changed my perspective forever. You don't have to control everything to take responsibility for your life. You only have to control your response. You didn't choose your parents. You didn't choose where you started. You didn't choose every obstacle, but you choose your attitude. You choose your effort. You choose whether today will be an excuse or a building block. And those small choices, repeated over time, create extraordinary results. I've seen people wait years for motivation. They say, "Once I feel ready, I'll start." Responsibility doesn't wait for motivation. Responsibility creates motivation. Action creates clarity. Movement creates confidence. The moment you take responsibility, you stop negotiating with your potential and start honoring it. There is a moment in every life, quiet and often unnoticed, when a person decides either to own their future or rent it from circumstances circumstances. That moment doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with a decision. A decision to wake up earlier. A decision to learn when it's uncomfortable. A decision to stop blaming and start building. A decision to say, "This is on me." Let me ask you something important. If everything stayed exactly the same for the next 5 years, would you be happy with where you'd end up? If the answer is no, then responsibility is calling your name. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. Responsibility says, change your habits. Responsibility says, improve your skills. Responsibility says, do the hard things first. Responsibility doesn't shout, it whispers. And those who listen early live better later. People often ask, what's the fastest way to change my life? The answer is not luck, not money, not connections. The fastest way is ownership. The moment you stop blaming your past, you free your future. The moment you stop explaining why you can't, you begin discovering how you can. Responsibility simplifies life. It clears the fog. It replaces confusion with direction. I once met a young man who said, "I'm waiting for the right opportunity." I asked him, "What if you are the opportunity?" Responsibility means becoming valuable. It means investing in yourself when no one else will. It means sharpening your skills, strengthening your character, and expanding your mindset so that when opportunity knocks, you are ready, not hopeful. Here's something else people don't talk about. Responsibility builds self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, you grow stronger. When you do what you said you would do, even when it's hard, you trust yourself more. And confidence is nothing more than self-trust earned over time. Responsibility is the foundation of confidence. Now let's be clear, taking responsibility does not mean being perfect. It means being honest. Honest about your weaknesses, honest about your mistakes, honest about your effort. When you mess up, responsibility says, I own this and I will fix it. That mindset alone puts you ahead of most people. The world does not reward intentions, it rewards execution. And execution comes from responsibility. When you stop waiting to be rescued and start building, life responds differently. Doors open, people notice, momentum builds, not because the world changed, but because you did. And here is the moral of the story, the lesson that ties everything together. The day you fully accept responsibility for your life is the day you step into your power. Not when circumstances improve, not when people change, not when luck arrives. Success begins the moment you take responsibility. That moment is always available. That moment is now. So decide today that excuses end here. Decide that growth starts now. Decide that your future deserves your ownership. Because when you take responsibility, you don't just change your results. You change who you become. And who you become determines everything that follows.